Welcome, everyone. Thank you for making the time to join us today. I'm Zanju. I'll be your host for this session. So, about the community, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, DCW is driven by the mission to enrich Wikimedia and its sister projects with the rich tapestry of global Muslim academia, history, and culture. We believe in knowledge equity, and we work to ensure these narratives are represented globally. So, on to the conversation hour. We have been holding these monthly conversation hours since September 2022, and this is our 40th one. This is a space where we can discuss movement strategy, ensure the sustainability of our work, and focus on the leadership development, which is necessary to keep these efforts moving forward. Before we begin, a quick reminder to ensure the session runs smoothly. The session is being recorded. You're welcome to turn off your camera at any point. Please keep your microphones on mute during the presentation to ensure the audio is clear for everyone. The chat is open. Drop your thoughts, your reflection, or even just a hello as we go along. We have dedicated the final 15 minutes of this session to your questions, and I will be monitoring the chat to bring those to our speaker. Now, about the session today, there is this wide misconception that the internet is a finished product, that the great digital library has already been built and we are all just patrons visiting it. But if we look closely at the gaps in our knowledge, in our global knowledge, we will see that there are missing perspectives, the undercovered topics, the biases which are baked into what's even considered notable. We realize that the foundation is only being just laid. So today we will be talking about youth engagement in Wikimedia. We will dive into why is the voice of youth critical in this modern world, which is riddled with algorithmic bias, AI hallucinations, and shrinking attention spans. We will be peeling back the layers on the motivations that turn them into contributors from being passive consumers of knowledge. Now, knowledge is static until it is applied. So we will also identify how can we actually involve the youth with practical ways and start shaping the ecosystem today. So joining us to lead this session today is Derrick. He is the founder and executive director of Wikimedia Rwanda. His journey began in the movement in 2019 at a Wikigap event in Uganda, which led him to establish this user group. Under his leadership, they launched their first project in 2020 and received official recognition in February 2022. As a provincial field coordinator at Rwanda Men's Resource Center, he focuses on gender transformative programs that build stronger and more equitable communities. His work also focuses on where the movement's future actually lives, with the youth. By establishing wiki clubs in the secondary schools, he has helped young Rwandans take ownership of their own culture and language online. Derrick, it's great to have you here. And with that, I hand over the session to you.
Thank you so much, Monaza. It's a pleasure being here. Is that the right pronunciation of your name?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. Maybe I'll go straight into the simple presentation. Conversations. Is my screen visible to every person?
Yes, it's visible. Please go ahead.
Perfect. Yes, it's a pleasure being here. And I would like to thank you, and I'll keep using the name Afi because I think I prefer it the most. Thank you for having me on today's edition. It's a pleasure for me, not only because we're going to be talking about something that I'm really passionate about, but because I'm also a youth. So it's a pleasure for me to be here talking about why young people need or should contribute to Wikimedia. Like you said, I think the intro about me has been finished, so I won't have any reason to go through it again. But beyond what is here, I'm really passionate about gender equality in various aspects of life, and access to open knowledge. So running straight into why should we as youth contribute to Wikimedia movement or Wikimedia related activities in 2016, I was able to put down a few points here, of which I'll be explaining more. I believe one of the reasons why as young people we need to start contributing, it is because with this contribution, we are able to shape the narrative. Uh, in this case, being a young person who comes from Rwanda, East Africa, Rwanda, which is in East Africa, uh, in most cases, I come across most of the information that talks about us as Rwandans or Africans. In most cases, the information is not right. Either it's not right, the narrative is not right. And on top of that, in most cases, it's even outdated. And the two instances I've talked about, you have the information, it's there. Maybe the narrative is wrong. Uh, the information is outdated. But then you also have another serious case where even the information now is not there at all. Let it be about anything that might be notable in other countries or even in our communities. Looking out for information about it, in most cases, you fail to find it. One of the reasons being young people know many things, but we find comfort in being at the receiving end. Most of us find comfort in being at the receiving end. Knowledge consumers. If I want information, I'll just go, log in on any platform I use to look for information, gather that information and I'm gone. The limited number of us take up that step to contribute or to provide that information when it's not available or when it's not accurate. So you realize that most of our stories are not there. And the fun fact of that this kind of information is known. Take a good example, maybe when maybe let's go into sports. For a person who likes sports, the history of sports in Rwanda, in this case I'm using Rwanda. For a person who is in India, think of Kashmir, think of any city or state that you stay in. Think of it, the history of sports in that specific place. If there was a contest and someone asked you for a competition, when could you tell us just briefly the history of sports, any sports, let's say cricket, the most notable. When was it first played in your city? So many people would not find information about that, but the truth remains that that is known. But the question is known by who? How do they share that information? So you realize that in most cases, in most parts of Africa and other, I think, countries in the global south, you realize that the information is shared orally. My grandpa has seen something or has been part of an experience. He shares it with my father. Then my father shares it with me, and then I share it with my kids, and so on and so on. The question is always, how do you even find out the accuracy of that information? That's one. Secondly, what happens when in that line of passing on information, one element is removed, one generation is removed? What if my father doesn't share with me maybe about the history of sports if he has been into sports? The question remains that where now do we get the information from? So I believe as young people in this era, it is important for us to join this movement and start contributing because this will help us shape the narrative about different aspects that we would need the world to, to know about us on. In this case, if you're in India, if you're a student, what about your school that you need the world to know? If you're into science, let's say biology, what about it that you need the world to know, especially about your region, about where you stay? The second thing is that it is very important because this helps in building future-proof skills. By this, I mean, in the process of contributing, we end up attaining digital literacy skills, uh, research skills, collaboration, leadership, and critical thinking. You realize that contributing also goes beyond just sitting beyond your PC and writing. it also has an element of finding out. If I want to write an article about any given topic, uh, where do I find the information from? One, if I'm finding various sources of information about that specific topic, how do I identify biases? How do I deal with biases? If I find that the little is known about a subject, what do I do about it? So it has an element of doing research. So many researchers are out there, so many researchers are doing a good job, but the question is, as a person who has gotten knowledge, what are you using it for? Or as a person who likes skills, research skills, where are you going? Which avenues are you using to gain knowledge on doing research? So I think this is also very important because the skills gained in the process of contributing, whether you're contributing on Wikicommons, Wikiversity, Wiktionary, any platform, the skills you gain along the way are beneficial to the way that it goes beyond being a Wikimedia, but they also benefit you in your career. Another reason I feel that we as young people should participate to Wikimedia movement or in Wikimedia movement in 2016, uh, this will help us create real impact. Uh, your edits can reach millions. One article can change perspectives forever. I'm thinking of a situation where a person is in, I'll keep using Kashmir, I hope that's okay with everyone, of a kid who is in Kashmir, but for some reason, they watched a match yesterday, a football match yesterday, and they saw a jersey that had a jersey of PSG, which is one of the teams that was playing, had, a word, Visit Rwanda, and this kid doesn't know about Rwanda, and they're interested in finding out. In this case, I'm using Visit Rwanda. Let's assume it also had Visit Kashmir. And a kid in Japan or in Kigali or a rural area in Rwanda is interested, visit, they like the team, but then they're also seeing something that has to do with, that excites their mind. Okay, visit Kashmir. What is Kashmir? Is it a country? Is it a state? Is it a region? Is it a district? Is it a sector? What is it about Kashmir? So the question is, if they are going to find information, are they going to find enough updated information, accurate information? So your edits, an edit that I could be doing here in Rwanda, in a rural area in Rwanda, can inform someone in Kashmir about what Rwanda is, and the other way around. An edit that you could be doing at your school, writing about your university, could inform me about what that specific university is, in case I'm interested in applying or coming to that university. And this goes way beyond, it even goes beyond edits. It even goes to uploads that we make. I remember in 2022, 2020, the first project we did was Wikilabs Africa, and then the topic was, I think, Africa on the Move, where people are supposed to upload photos, videos, audios, but basically audios and photos that were showing the transformation in Africa. And one of the things we did was uploading photos of moving vehicles, roads under construction, and so on. And I remember there was 2 years after that, that is now 2022, having a conversation, actually a question where a person is asking, how comes this photo that I saw on the internet that was showing a modern public transport bus in Rwanda, how comes it shows that the picture was taken in Rwanda, yet Rwanda is a hilly country, which would mean that a bus like this cannot be on the roads in Rwanda. And the argument was maybe this picture is not real because the buses that were being used here were the modern buses. I think they're manufactured in China. And the argument was, Rwanda being a hilly country, a bus like this cannot be, cannot be moving on a road in Rwanda. And I was happy at first because at least we had something we were debating on. But on another hand, I was also sad because you realize that lots of things are happening in Rwanda, just like they're happening in India. But someone somewhere has information that might not be right, that might not even be close to being right. But because a person who knows the information that is right or accurate does not put it out there, then you have magnitudes of people, masses of people who have wrong information about something or no information at all. So we need to start contributing because these edits we make, these uploads we make, these improvements we make on articles, these discussions we participate in on written and existing articles, they create more impact than we think. Think of a researcher who wants to write about um, tertiary schools in Kashmir, and I'm in Rwanda. Maybe that's what I'm interested in on doing a research on. What information is out there in the public domain that might help me in my research? So we really need to be part of this because it not only helps us to learn, like I said, to also gain skills, but it also helps us in creating impact uh, in a way that it even goes beyond ourselves. Like I said, I'm thinking of a kid who is interested in finding out what Kashmir is, running on the internet, and they're able to get the information. And in this case, an information that was curated by a person who is in Kashmir, first-hand information. So the impact goes way beyond an individual who is contributing, but also, the entire world, because you never know who needs that information and for what. Another reason I feel it's very important for youth to participate, it could be the career and recognition. The career, I usually say that the Wikimedia movement is like an ocean. Oceans are explored by different people for different reasons. You will find a person who is maybe a deep sea diver. They will be exploring an ocean for that. Then you have a person who wants to do fishing. Then you have other people who want to do, underwater photography. Then you have, there are various things one can do with just an ocean. So the same applies to Wikimedia movement. It's a big ocean that allows people to dive in and, explore as much as they can, contribute as much as they can. And one thing that is also very beautiful about that is that it's too big to the point it has a room for everyone. Are you a graphic designer? Then there is what is for you. Are you into coding and so on? There is a room for you. Are you an event organizer? There is a room for you. Are you a person who likes building communities from scratch? There is a room for you. Are you a photographer? Are you a researcher? There is a bigger room for you that uh, I believe it will never be so small. So with that being said, there are also opportunities for your career growth. Imagine of a science, in this a student who is doing programming, and in the process of learning on one side, they're also contributing to Wikimedia. This adds something on their CV, but also their skills. Think of a person who wants to participate in their community development as time goes on. Being part of a wiki club, being part of a user group, having been part of its founding team, contributing to it, even if it's been already founded and you're contributing to it. Skills you're gaining here might also be a base through which you can start on your career. So beyond that, contributing to free knowledge is also one of the powerful ways through which young people can fight misinformation and build equity. With the the technological advancements, where now information is. I would like to bring this from Kinyarwanda. There is a saying that amakuru nicho cyambere. So like information is the first and foremost. So with that, we are seeing people are coming up, feeding people with information that is false, because at the end of the day, it feeds them. It earns them. It allows them to feed. I mean, to pay their bills at the end of the month. Whether that kind of misinformation affects people's lives or affects decision making, there are some people who don't care about that, but they miss that kind of information that is biased and not true is out there. So it is very important that we, as young people, we start contributing to this and fight misinformation, because whether we are doing it or not, the people who are committed to spreading misinformation, they're doing it and they're committed and they're doing it without ceasing. So the question is, as a young person who has been equipped with so many opportunities, what are you doing it? How are you using it to fight misinformation? Another thing, then a person might say, okay, well, I would really want to participate, but how do I how do I participate? They're already inspiring youth examples. Well, at the moment, I don't know if Ananya is still in the youth cup, but from what I found was maybe before I go into some of the examples, there's so many ways through which a person can participate. One, there are lots of ongoing youth-led editathons. Some of these are being implemented on a local basis or a local level, where you realize that maybe if you're in India, there is a youth-led editathon. It could be, I believe there are so many communities, uh, uh, even the DCW, there are so many youth-led editathons that as a young person, you can be part of. And I'm also going to talk about how other ways of participating, not necessarily editing an article. So some of these editathons are focused on some, like I said, some of them are local, others are regional, others are international. Um, some of these focus on documenting underrepresented culture, history, science, and in local languages. The beauty about this, it can be an international campaign that you localize and do it from in your local language. I think of recent, I was learning about the Ukraine Diplomacy Month, and I think it might be maybe if the Afi is on the call, he will inform us if it is also going to be implemented in in India, but some of these can be contextualized into our local languages. If a person is able to find a different, a various any article on English Wikipedia, the question is, can they find it in a language that is used in Kashmir? Maybe for learning purposes, what's the language that is used in Kashmir? Any person who could use the chat box? Munas, are you still on the call? Could you have a person tell us what that language is?
Yes, I'm still on the call. I was facing some network issues. Okay, so
The
question we
language
are in the dedicated. Did I miss anything?
oh, yes. So I was asking what's the language used in Kashmir?
It's Kashmiri language. Api would be a better person to ask you that since he's Kashmiri himself.
Okay, is it Urdu? I don't know. Okay,
It's quite different from Urdu.
Oh, okay. But Urdu is
It's structure framework.
one of the languages used in
Yes.
India, right?
Yes,
Perfect.
it's one of the languages.
Perfect. That's very helpful. So, like I said, the ways through which a person can be part of this is contextualizing a campaign that is international. Um, you're an Urdu speaker. I hope I'm pronouncing it so well. If you are an Urdu speaker, then how about getting an article that exists in English or French or any other language that you're able to understand and make it available in your local language? By this, you're not starting from scratch. You're getting what is there and then making it available in so many other languages, including yours. Another thing, we have so many initiatives that are that are now introducing Wikimedia into the education sphere. Now we are having schools and university partnerships that are embedding Wikipedia into the teaching curriculum, and I think we have also seen some partnerships by the DCW with some education institutes. So as a person who is studying at any of the universities or high schools, or who finished, university, any of those that are around where you are, the question is, now that you have connection or contacts of that university where you're studying or studied, how you could start small, engage a community, see how best this teaching university can collaborate with a community, a user group that for them to start. You might not be having a specific project that they need to work on. Let your role be initiating it. You start it so that the rest can pick up from there. Another thing could be the peer-to-peer training. You realize that, and I think it's one of the things I was emphasized on when I'm towards the end. Now that you've been able to learn something, then teach another person and uh, not forcing, but demand them to also teach you something in return. Because I believe that's how communities will be built. That's how, as young people, we shall be able to fight the misinformation that I was talking about, develop our careers, like I talked earlier, create long-lasting impact. You've learned something, help another person to learn it as well. Because in the long run, in the process of their learning, they might also discover something new that might be shared to you in the long run. So you realize that it keeps coming back. You teach one person, they teach another person, and the impact is, it's everlasting. Another is also, participating. Like I said, there are millions ways through which a person can participate. There is Wikidata, there is Wiki Commons. So if a young person wants to participate, there are so many avenues. Maybe I don't want to belong to a community. Maybe I don't want to participate in any of the ongoing campaigns. On a personal basis, I can just sit down, edit an article. I can I can submit photos of various things on various themes. I can contribute them to the internet, put them in the public domain for people to use them for educative reasons. And some of these, I think, from these, we've seen so many life-changing, impacting initiatives like the Wiki Butterflies, the Wiki Loves Butterfly. You realize that with a simple initiative, a simple thought that you can begin with now, that you can begin contributing to now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, it could be a global campaign, an initiative that every person in the world wants to participate in because of how impactful that initiative is. I'm also, grateful to say that this community, I thought of starting 2019 when I was a student back in Uganda. Right now, it has community members, more than 300, doing different activities, different projects. Also, it's a pleasure for me to say that I can now talk about Lillian and Robert, these two young people, leading the Wiki Club initiative in Rwanda that is now bringing on board students in high school, university, lecturers, secondary, high school teachers, for them to learn all about this Wikimedia movement and also knowing how best they can start contributing. These are young people. And with this initiative started in 2024, so far more than 10 schools have been onboarded. And these schools have like at an average of around 20 Wiki Club members. You can imagine these are now 100 people that we are talking about. Young people who are transforming into knowledge consumers, to knowledge, people contributing to knowledge, the knowledge ecosystem. Now the AFI, like I said, I'll keep calling him the AFI. Just a young person, a fellow young person, and a good friend of mine, who founded the DCW community. Right now, we are here because of that. I don't think when he started it, he was thinking that a day like this, we would be on a call like this, talking about what we're talking about right now. But he had a thought. I believe he had, a vision. He started implementing it, and here we are. So many activities have been done. A lot of impact is being created by this community. So if these people did it, then why not you on this call? If they're able to start something small and it is creating bigger impact, then why not you? So with these initiatives, with these approaches, young people can go beyond being just contributors. They can also be innovators and future leaders of the movement, because it's from these contributions, individual contributions, community contributions, that a person usually rises from just being, from to being a leader within the community. Like when I joined, I was a student. After that, I was able to organize Wiki Indawa, I was the lead organizer of Wiki Indawa, which happens every year and brings together so many Wikimedians across Africa and and Africans in Africa and in the diaspora. Little at first when I started, I didn't know I could be, trusted with such a huge task. Along the way, I was able to start serving in the Wikilabs Monument International team. When I started, I didn't know contributing to Wikipedia, uploading a photo on Wikicommons could land me an opportunity of serving now on the international level. I was part of the grants review team for Middle East and Africa around 2022, 2023. This is an opportunity I got along the way, but I never thought that one day I'll be part of that. So the more you contribute, you realize that there's so many channels that get opened for you, that you could go, you even start going beyond just being a contributor, a person who edits Wikipedia, but a person who can organize an event, a person who applies for grants and implements projects, a person who, leads and guides newbies. So there is more that could be done. Then from here, what could be? Which action should people take? Start simple. And of recent, I learned something from a comedian who has been around, I think, since 2020, 2009, if not 6. Start simple. You don't have to have it all to start. Start small. And on top of that, make it fun. Don't always make it so hard so that you're not, you don't get a burnout and you leave it before you're even anywhere. So start small. Start small, start simple, and start in a very fun way. Create or improve one article. You cannot create, just improve an existing one. You don't necessarily have to do lots of research to make this on this article. You can just go through it and see where they put a comma instead of a full stop. And with that, you've been able to contribute. Add a photo on an article that misses it, or lacks one. Edit an outdated entry this week. This could be about a community leader in India who maybe was replaced yesterday because they nominated a new one. Just go on his page, update that. If a new school has been established in your community, just go on Wikipedia, find the list that has schools in your community. If that is not there, then upload it. I mean, add it if you have notable sources of information. Another thing, I always believe being part of a community is one of the most impactful things a person can do. Don't just, you know, well, if a person wants to do that, to do that is very okay. Being a standalone contributor, but in this case, I would say participate, join a community, because from there you're able to learn and share, other than just being, a sole contributor. It's only you. When everything rotates around you, I feel in the long run, it could be good, but then from a personal experience, I would say being part of a community is more better because you get to learn, but beyond learning, you also get to share with other people. Participate in events. There are editathons that you could participate in. There are, campaigns. I kept using Wiki Butterfly, Wiki Loves Butterfly. There is Wiki Loves Monuments. There is Wiki Loves Art. There are so many beautiful things in around your home, even in your home, that the world doesn't know. You can start now. If at your home, maybe you have an old, let's say an old telephone. Just take a picture of it, upload it on Wikicommons, so that a person who was born yesterday, 10 years from now, they're able to see a picture of a phone that was used in your era. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Another thing, develop skills, learn, because there are so many tutorials, both on the Wikimedia platforms and also on YouTube and other platforms. Learn because the learning tutorials are out there. This could be how to upload a picture on Commons, how to delete one if you submitted it by error, how do you ask for it to be deleted. This could also involve translating. An article is out there in a language, maybe in English, and you would really want people to have it in one of the local languages you speak, that has a Wikipedia. That is a good avenue for you to contribute to. Another thing, beyond all that, you can also start organizing workshops, minor workshops that do not really need resources. There are times when you will need resources, now financial resources and so on. But now, at the start small. Take a community. I mean, an environment where you're in. It could be a university. It could be a workplace. It could be, a group of young people maybe you studied with, a group of people where, who have gone to school where you stay. Work with them. Create something small and contribute in, this movement in your own way, on your own pace. Another thing, as all that is going on, I believe people who are here, you've learned one or two things about the Wikimedia movement and how best to contribute. At least mentor one person or two. I always believe as you learn, it is also very important to teach another person, because along the way, this is how communities are built. So the future of free knowledge needs your voice, your energy, and your ideas. So the question I would like to end by posing to every person who is on this call, now that the April of 2026 is coming to an end. Tomorrow is going to be 1st May. What are you going to be contributing on before the year ends? Because the world needs you. It needs your contribution. So what are you going to be contributing on? So without further ado, thank you so much. I think now I will proudly say thank you for being attentive. And in Kinyarwanda, we say thank you as Murakoze. So now let's dive into questions and suggestions, feedback. Over to you, Munaza. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Derek. Then could it be possible for you to switch networks, as we are facing some issues and your voice is breaking?
Oh, how about
Seems to be
now?
happening with quite a few of our
Oh,
participants.
oh, I'm so sorry. are they, how is it now? Are they,
It's still lagging a bit.
oh my God. Okay, I think I can do that. Okay, well, just a few seconds. I'll just switch my network so that I could see what's more fast. Maybe where did people start losing me so that I know how I could summarize what I might have said and they missed out. Maybe people in the chat box could, tell me where they started. They lost me so that I can know how to maybe summarize it.
Please drop the topics that you might have missed while he was speaking so that you can summarize it.
Come again?
Sanai is saying to continue with the Q&A if it's fine with you.
Perfect.
So before we actually delve into the Q&A, I just wanted to share a reflection that, how that youth really does contributing in shaping the narrative, as you said, because we know that fair representation is not abstract. It empowers us to fight misinformation, to build real skills that actually matter in this time and age. And I absolutely love the example that you showed us of Ananya, Lillian and Robert in Rwanda, Afi from our own community. We also got to know the ways with which we can guide the youth by keeping it simple. They can join in locally, they can participate, we can help them develop skills that will help them in their careers ahead, mentoring someone. And I also appreciated the emphasis on peer-to-peer learning because we at DCW do cohorts of train a Wikipedian model where we mentor new budding and emerging contributors and bring students especially on board into Wikimedia so that they can start contributing into this wide free knowledge movement. And again, thank you so much, Derek, for your insights. Please feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions or drop them in the chat box so that we can address them. While they are typing the question, I had this question. You mentioned collaborations within schools and universities. What I have observed, because I did propose it to quite a few of the university where my friends were, where I am studying, the problem that arises is that even if the teachers to whom we approach with the idea of, say, forming a club where we, can have discussions about Wikimedia movement, how we can contribute to the different platforms and how Wikimedia is not just restricted to Wikipedia. The problem is that either the barrier stands that the HOD does not agree, even if we, pitch it to her, tell her the benefits of it. And even if the HOD agrees, then it's the principal who refuses to give us the green light to actually do those things. So have you faced anything similar, any sort of this, and how did you resolve it?
Yes, thank you for sharing that. I think these are some of the experience people never tell us when we are joining the community and when we are, being ambitious and enthusiastic about doing different things. I would say I also faced the same things, especially from university lecturers who, you approach as a university and the first thing is, Wikipedia, are you talking about Wikipedia that I know? I'm like, yes, the Wikipedia that you know. Well, it's one of the things I stopped my students from using. And you're here telling me that they need to learn and start contributing to that. So it's always that first impression that I get from most of the lecturers that we also got from the lecturers. And I think if Robert or Lillian, the people who are now the coordinators of the Wiki clubs, or Rebecca, if they were here, they would say the same thing because they've been reaching out to these partners. Uh, I would say it happens. I would say, well, I don't know if it's a global thing, but in most communities, it happens because of the biases people have towards Wikipedia. And I would say, imagine if Wikipedia has that kind of bias, and if there is so much misinformation about Wikipedia out there, imagine of your country. Imagine of a science subject that you love the most. Imagine of a city where you stay. It means it's too much out there. So we've faced it, but I would say if one really knows where they are going, they're not going to be stopped by anything along the way. It will delay you. It will make you, stuck for a week. But if you know where you're going, you keep pushing. So what we'll do with these lecturers, we'll show them actually the other benefits of these students being part of just a small group of people. Put aside Wikipedia. These students that are not talking about football, football is not bad to talk about. They're not talking about movies. It's not also not bad, but they're talking about how best they can, be part of a global knowledge ecosystem. These students are not only sharing about their favorite songs and teams they support, they are talking about the information that might be missing about that specific team and how best they could contribute to that. So this is just beyond Wikipedia. If a person has, biases towards Wikipedia, this is just beyond Wikipedia. These are students that are coming together to learn how, to find information, to curate information, because most of these are knowledge consumers. Then it's through this club, this wiki club, this just small community that these students are going to learn how to go beyond what is there and also create what's not there or what is out there but very, discattered. These students, I'll use a simple example. I did biology, chemistry, and geography for high school. But most of what we were taught is not available in Kinyarwanda, which is my language. We studied it in English. Others studied it in French. So making that professor understand that, well, that professor might be an English teacher, that professor might be an ICT lecturer, well and good. But is the information about what they teach in school, which they teach maybe in English or Arabic, is it available in Urdu? Is it available in any other language? Then that's part of what these kids, this lecturer is stopping this. That is part of what they could be doing. You know, medical students, a good example is, the medical sector at large. It Most of the things are, I think, Latin, if I'm not mistaken, Latin and then English when our students are learning. But much of the information exists in English and Latin, like I said. Most of the medicine we take, they're in English. You know, the diagnosis, English. So the question is, now, me as if I'm a student who is doing medicine at university, being part of a wiki club, if you say a person has been diagnosed with malaria, the information that I'm going to try to explain to them in Kinyarwanda, I can be part of a community that makes it available in Kinyarwanda for people to be able to read it. So it's very hard convincing these lecturers, but again, it is very possible because, like I said, it goes way beyond just sitting and editing Wikipedia. It goes into people developing new skills, people learning and sharing what they know, because learning is one thing, but also sharing is another thing. So, yeah, I believe it's very tough, but again, it's worth it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that would help us. And also, another thing that would help us is actually showing them the metrics, the tangible metrics of converting or contributing. So, which would help them convince, them to actually let the students get involved into our projects. So, thank you so much. Anybody else who would like to ask a question, you can unmute yourselves.
By the way, is the Afi part of the is he on the call? I would really want to hear from him. I'm also happy to see some people who joined in from Rwanda. Greetings to you, Sam, and other people who joined in from Rwanda.
Hi, Derek. This is Zafi here.
The Afi, good to hear from you.
We're very glad to have you here.
And hi, team. This is Abdurrahim from Ghana.
Oh
And
my God.
thank you very much for the presentation, Derek. There is just something I want to share. I think when we come to youth participation in Wikimedia and then getting them involved, aside the impact that they are able to make, it's very important that we try to convince them about the opportunities that exist within the movement. There are many people, when they are coming into the space, they ask themselves, if I do all the contributions, although other people may benefit from it from other countries, but myself, what opportunity do I get? So it's very important we try to communicate to them the benefits. And then if we know people who have already benefited within the Wikimedia space, we try to share their experiences with them and sometimes bring people on board. For instance, some of my community members, my Wikimedia mentees, have gotten opportunities through being part of the Wikimedia space. One of my Wikimedia community members is now studying at Michigan University for his PhD. And when he got the scholarship, when he texted me, he told me that he being part of the Wikimedia space was one of the main reasons why he got the scholarship, just adding that into his CV and then proving it with the edits he's already having. So they feel like he was having good writing skills. Myself, I'm working at a university now as a research assistant. When I went for my job interview, I was competing with people who have master's degrees. But my writing as a Wikipedian was something that they considered me for just because I was a Wikipedian. So we have all these things people are benefiting from. We have the travel opportunities as far as you are serious. So when we are trying to bring youth on board in the Wikimedia space, let's not only tell them that you make impact, you will document history in your language and all that. Let's try to tell them the personal gains they will get if they are part of the space is very important. So that's just something few I also want to share. Thank you very much, and it has been great being part of this meeting.
Thank you so much for sharing your inputs. Now we are at the end of our session. So before we close, just a small reflection that I wanted to share, that contributing to free knowledge has become, one of the most practical ways to fight misinformation and ensure that equity is built into the knowledge that we share with the world. So whether you are mentoring a peer or simply improving a single article, these actions ensure that scholarship and culture are actively preserved within the digital record rather than being left behind. So, Derek, thank you so much for giving us such a clear, grounded, and inspiring session on youth engagement in Wikimedia. That practical roadmap is exactly what emerging contributors needed, and the ways with which you shared made the goals feel entirely tangible. Thank you again for your expertise, your energy, and your commitment to free knowledge. I'm also grateful for all of you, our participants. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for engaging. And thank you for sharing your inputs. Please keep an eye on our communication channels for the next DCW Conversation Hour. We do have a Telegram group where you can share your feedback, post questions, and engage in ongoing discussion. I will share the link of it in the chat. So please join in. And until then, it was a delight to have you all here. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead, everyone.